guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now today I'm going to be reacting to your guys' chinchilla cages, and I have been waiting for my audience to get big enough to do one of these videos because I love these videos. I love watching other people review cages. So today is the day I'm going to be showing my subscribers cages and giving my honest feedback. Now, I am not personally attacking any one of these people. I am just giving them suggestions of how to make their setup even better for their fluffy little creatures. So let's get into the video. So I asked for cage submissions on Instagram, so if you guys want to get in on the next one, make sure to follow me on Instagram. I will put a link in the description, and let's get into it. I will give you guys their Instagram handle so you can go give them some love. Now my first submission comes from the Chinchillas, and I believe they have 3 chinchillas living together in this 2-story cage. And the cage looks like an exotic nutrition cage, maybe? I'm probably totally wrong. But it has a lot of similar features. It appears that the floor pan pulls out. So that's what I'm thinking. It is an appropriate size for 3 chinchillas, so there's no worry about that. And they also say the black ledges on the right are made out of metal, and the only plastic in there is the hay feeder on the bottom, which obviously they know the plastic is bad, so I'm not going to say anything, but I will give you suggestions of what you can do differently. So let's start with the top portion of the cage and we'll move to the bottom. Now the first thing I see is you have multiple hiding places for your chinchillas. And I love that, especially because you have 3 chinchillas. And I always suggest having a hide or hut per chinchilla because that allows them to have their own privacy and they won't end up fighting over their hiding space. That's the first thing that I like. I also like that they have multiple eating stations. So they have multiple bowls and they also have multiple places for hay and whatnot. This also deters fighting because you don't have chinchillas claiming a bowl that is the only bowl in the cage. They have multiple places to eat, and this will mediate any fights, especially because you have those 3 chinchillas. Only big issue I see with the top portion of the cage is I'm not entirely sure if the fabric that is in the cage is a no-pill fleece. And the reason why I say that is no-pill fleece is the safest option. If you use other types of fabric, they have those threads in there. So if your chinchilla one day decides to start chewing on their hammock, those threads that are in other fabrics can cause issue if they ingest them. So I would just switch those out to a no-pill fleece if they aren't already a fleece. Another thing I really like about this top portion of the cage is where the hammock is. There is a large shelf there because hammocks are a little bit harder for them to navigate in because there's no solid bottom. So there is a large shelf underneath that, so if they fall out of it accidentally, they have a surface that is pretty close to that hammock, so they aren't falling as far. It appears that they have a lot of bigger shelves up here as well, so that's very nice. They also seem to have a bird perch up here. With the bird perches, you just want to make sure that they're a safe wood because some of them are made out of woods that are not safe for chinchillas, so I would just make sure that that's okay for them to chew on. Let's move to the bottom portion of the cage. Now, the bottom portion of the cage is where the plastic hay feeder is. You can just switch that out with maybe a planter, like something you would put an actual plant in. You can also switch it out with a hut that's flipped over. You can put it directly on the ground. You can use a ceramic dish. There's a whole bunch of different options. Plastic is not the greatest because, again, if they ingest it, that's an issue and can cause blockage. With the bottom portion of the cage, you have this large branch. It looks like a bird perch as well. Again, with that, just make sure that it's a safe wood. I can't tell what kind of wood it is by looking at it. So I just want you to make sure that that is safe for them. Another thing I see is you have the 3rd hut or hiding space for them in here, which again is great because you have a hiding space per chinchilla, which I highly recommend you do. And the biggest issue I see is you have a bath mat in here, which I know is not fleece, so I would switch that out with a fleece bed. With the bottom portion of the cage, there are smaller shelves. I would suggest getting a few larger shelves so it's easier for them to navigate and climb and whatnot. So that would be my only suggestions for the bottom portion of your cage. Now the last thing is the water bottle. I can't tell if it's plastic or glass. I would suggest using a glass water bottle because even if it's on the outside of the cage, your chinchilla will be able to get to it. I have plastic water bottles, but I use a metal guard so they can't chew on it. So those are my two suggestions, either to use glass or a metal guard. Let's move on to my next submission, which is plant-based chinchillas. And I checked out their page and it appears they have 2 chinchillas and one of them is named Tofu, like my cat Tofu. So I love the names. They say I recently had to baby-proof my cage, so it's not as exciting now, but here's what it looked like before I did that. And it's a beautiful cage. It is a Ferret Nation cage. It is a dual story, so even if they do have both chinchillas living in here, it is perfectly suitable and appropriate size. And if they do have 2 chinchillas living in this cage, they have multiple hiding places. So you can see there's a hide on the big shelf at the top of the cage, and then there's one towards the middle as well. Also, with the Ferret Nation cages, it comes with a plastic shelf, which you can see they are using in the top portion of the cage, and they have that covered up with fleece, which is exactly what you should be doing. That is the right choice. I can also tell, I'm pretty sure the chew toys, the hanging toys, are from Chinchilla, which I love Chinchilla. Correct me if I'm wrong, but they look oddly specific. They look familiar. They are safe chew toys, and I appreciate that you have them all over the cage. It adds a little bit of spice. So they have a wheel in their cage. This looks like a pandemonium wheel, and the reason why I say that as well is because they have a few metal shelves, which again, you can get from Pandemonium Pets. And with the metal shelves, those are a really good option to have in your cage because it is a cooling option. So if your chinchilla is a little bit hot, they can lay on their metal shelf and it will help cool their body temperature down. They are using fleece for the bottom of their cage. So they're using that plastic shelf that comes with a Ferret Nation cage and covering it with fleece for their bedding. And they are using looks like a metal tin or baking sheet as a litter box. So that's also a very good option. And then they have a safe hay feeder and a ceramic bowl. The only thing with the hay feeder, which I've said before, is if it has that wire thing, I would just take the wire thing out and just put hay loose in there. Ferret Nation cages are very customizable, and it looks like there isn't a middle shelf or a middle floor thing. I don't know what you call that. There's like a floor piece that separates the 2 sections. It looks like that's not there. And because that's not there, I would just make sure that you have enough shelves so that they don't fall. So you want to have like bigger shelves and you want to place them in a way so that there isn't large drops if they accidentally miss a shelf. So I can't tell if the floor is there or not. I just want to make sure that that is something you're keeping in mind when you are designing your cage, because there is a lot of shelves and there's a lot going on. I just want to make sure that everything is safe and good for your chinchillas. Your cage is very, very beautiful. I love it so, so much. So let's move on to our next cage submission. They say their food bowls are on the lowest right under the ledge, and you can't see them on the pic, but they are ceramic. So I do not recognize this cage. It does appear to be the appropriate size for a chinchilla though, so A+ on that. I believe you probably have 1 chinchilla living in here as well. So you actually have 2 hiding places for them, which is great. You have a hanging chew toy for them to chew on. It looks like you have a chin spin, which is the appropriate size wheel for a chinchilla. And you have a safe hay feeder. I know I haven't mentioned this, but if you use bag hay feeders, they are in fact safe as long as they're fleece. So if it's not fleece, I would just change it out to a fleece one. It also looks like you have a plastic shelf in here that you have covered with fleece. So that's also a plus. The only thing that I really see, there's a couple things that I see that I don't exactly like. It looks like the hammock isn't fleece. Again, if it is fleece, that's perfectly fine. But if you have fabric in there that is not fleece, that is unsafe, because of the same reason. If they start chewing on it, those fibers can cause problems in their digestive system. And then it also looks like you have a plastic water bottle, which can just be fixed if you use a glass water bottle or if you use a metal guard. And then it appears, this looks like a type of cage that would have a wire bottom, because it looks like the floor pan pulls out. So I see what you're doing with the wood panels or the wood bendy bridges. It appears that you're trying to like save your chinchilla's feet a little bit and have those at the bottom of your cage. If the wire spacing on those bars is small enough, it is safe. I don't like having that there because I think it's hard to walk on. So another suggestion that you can do to kind of save your chinchilla's feet with a wire bottom is to use like a fleece liner, so that they're just walking on the fleece liner instead of having their feet and toes stick through the bottom. But that's completely up to you. But yeah, it's a very nice cage. So my next submission comes from Coffee Chinchillas. I believe they have 2 or 3 chinchillas living in this cage, which it looks to be an appropriate size for 2 or 3 chinchillas. Now it looks like these black shelves are metal shelves. It looks like they have fleece hammocks, which are pink and they're so cute. So those are all good as well. They have a chew toy that's hanging here, and then they also have these bendy bridges that their chinchilla can chew on. In addition, with this cage setup, I really enjoy that there's a lot of things in the cage, because chinchillas are den dwellers and they like stuff around them to make them feel like they're not on display. So they like hiding places. They like having a lot of shelves to climb and basically squeeze themselves in between. They like being very, they like things that are close to them. They like feel secure in their cage. And I feel like this cage does that. There's lots of stuff for them to do. There's lots of stuff for them to hide in. There's lots of stuff for them to climb in. This is a very good cage. I would say the only thing that I can tell from this picture is I'm not sure what the bedding is on this cage. And I would just make sure that that's fleece, which I would be surprised if it's not fleece, because your hammocks are very obviously fleece. But you did a very good job with your cage. Very good job. Let me creep on your page. Do I follow you? No, I'll follow you. Also, I need to tell you that your chinchilla with a pink nose literally kills me inside. It's so cute. Like, I have a chinchilla named Piglet, and oh my god, your chinchilla has a pink nose and it's so cute. It's so cute. Now let's move on to my personal favorite of all the submissions that I got, mostly because of the person's name. So this Instagram account is called Albus Dumblefur. Like, are you kidding me? Like, how creative can you be? Like, I am jealous of your name, let alone your cage. You send me so many photos and I appreciate it because I love this cage, and I have suggestions to make it even more artsy, and oh, it's so cute. So thank you so much for submitting your cage. You're also my first submission, so I appreciate it so much. The reason why I like your cage so much is obviously because it is castle themed, and I have a castle themed cage, so it gets me really excited to kind of like, I don't know, steal your ideas. Hint, hint, awkward, sorry. But they're so cute. So they have a very interesting cage because it is a mixture between a Critter Nation cage and a Ferret Nation cage. And you can tell that the top portion and the bottom portion are Critter Nation cage, and the middle portion is the Ferret Nation cage because of the orientation of the bars and the bar spacing. I have always wanted to try that, but I don't know. I really like Ferret Nation cage because it's a little bit stronger. So that, it's great. It's so cool. Okay, so for this cage, they have a lot of places to hide. They have hammocks and whatnot. I'm going to go picture by picture so that I can kind of describe what I'm looking at. So in this picture, you can see that they are using a fleece bedding, but because fleece is a little bit warmer, they have a tile bedding in the back of the cage, which I think is super, super smart, because when you use a tile, that allows your chinchilla a place to cool down if they get too hot, which could happen if you have that fleece. And I really love your litter box. It's just like so aesthetic, and it's a litter box. Like, I just use a glass Pyrex dish, but your baking ceramic dish is just, it's so perfect for your cage. I also really like that you have these big shelves because it makes it easier for your chinchilla to climb and whatnot. And you have some horizontal chew bars. Those look good as well. And you have a plethora of toys hanging on the front of the door. You have lots and lots of things for your chinchillas to do. It's great. So your next picture, you have a hay feeder, which is a fleece bag, which is great. I've always wanted a bridge to a hut like this. So in this picture, they also have a chin buddy, or at least it looks like a chin buddy. I'm not sure if that is fleece or not. Just make sure that all the pieces on that are fleece, and that would be good to go. So you have a wheel. It looks to be an appropriate size. I'm not sure where you got it from, and I'm kind of curious about that. So if you can let me know that too, that'd be super interesting. Oh, it's so brilliant. This next photo, it's the same level. It's just the details of this cage is just astronomical, because they thought of having a ledge above their water bottle because they have their water bottle attached to the inside of their cage. And when you do that, your chinchilla has the urge to sit on top of your water bottle. So having a ledge up there is a really smart idea. The top portion of the cage is probably my favorite. The only thing I can say with the huts that are up there is that you have those screws. And the only thing I'd say about those is having screws in your huts are controversial because they could chew through it through the night and have that exposed nail, which can cause injury. It's a little bit dangerous, and they can also accidentally chew into the screw. So it's highly suggested that you use dowel rods. If you do have screws, just keep an eye on them. If they're chewing on them, you might need to remove and replace whatever they're chewing on, the hut. So it's just something you need to keep an eye on. However, this is beautiful, and I want one right now for sure. Like, the top portion is just like designed so cute, and I just, oh, it's so cute. I love that you have this hanging piece that goes down into a hole. Now I have some aesthetic ideas that might be cute. So I have a castle theme, and one of the things that I would love to do is to have poop guards, but have the poop guards have that like indentation on the top of the wall to make it look like a castle wall. I think that would be so cute to add around your cage, just to add that castle wall feel. This is not necessary. It's just me being obsessive because your cage is so beautiful. Another thing is I want to find like a dragon mouth hay feeder. You know how they use like those Halloween hay feeders where they're like candy dishes and they have a big open mouth and you put hay in there. I would love to have a dragon one because I feel like dragons go really well with castles. But however, I love your cage. Thank you so much for the submission. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video and would like to submit your cage as well, again, I will link my Instagram down in the description below. I'm sure I'm going to be doing a lot more because I really enjoy looking at other people's cages so that I can steal all of your ideas. So if you do have a cage setup, make sure to tag me in them in your story, and I will feature you guys on my story as well. And at some point I will do another video like this, so make sure you guys are following me on Instagram so that you get updated on that. And also make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and while you guys wait for my next video, make sure to check out these videos next, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. I need to gather my thoughts. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm not sure what's on the top there. I am really bad at this. And because they have 3 chinchillas, that's a great option. I'm gonna start over. I'm sorry.